There's a Mandela effect out there, and it's based around the original "I Want You" for the U.S. Army poster or illustration, should say, by James Montgomery Flagg. This is something that was illustrated way back at like the turn of the century, over 100 years ago, and it's famous, it's iconic, and it is probably James Montgomery Flagg's most iconic piece of artwork. It kind of embodies the country of America. So it's a famous picture, and the Mandela effect is that his top hat, used to have red stripes on it. Now, if you look around, you'll find tons of items and drawings and caricatures and things with that character on them with the stripes on the top hat. So what I want to do is I want to further this conversation. I want to move it forward. We're going to call the Smithsonian Institute of Art in Washington, D.C., where the original lithograph is. Am I saying that right? Lithograph? I might be saying that wrong. They have the original there. They don't have it on display. They have it up on their third floor, but we're going to call them and see what they say. Before we get into the video today, though, I want to give a couple of quick shout outs to people who inspired this video, because I didn't just discover this Mandela effect on my own. Other people have talked about it before, and I'm interested in moving their conversation forward. So before we even get into the video, I want to show you a few videos that inspired this video so that you can go check those videos out for yourself. And I'll put a link to them in the description. So let's go to screen share really quick. So the first video is by Reality Shifter, and this one I think is pretty definitive. Reality Shifter did a video about a year ago. It's called Mandela Effect, Uncle Sam's Hat. And this video, he really goes through a lot of residue, and just basically ask the question, why are so many people getting this wrong if this hat has always had no stripes on the hat? It's a great video. I recommend you check it out. Reality Shifter did a great job here. The second video that inspired my video was this one here by Recall Vector. And this video, he's basically saying, hey, Uncle Sam's hat turned white, no red stripes. Again, he points out a lot of residue, and it really adds to the conversation. Like, why is there so much residue around this historical thing? It's kind of weird, and I found this video very inspiring, and this was part of the reason I made my video. I wouldn't have called Smithsonian Institute of Art and American Illustration Museum and all these places. I wouldn't have went into it like this if not for these guys' videos. So big shout out to Recall Vector. And then the third one I wanted to shout out was a nice little piece of residue by Brian MacFarlane here. He did a piece of residue. This was actually a little while ago too, but this was Mandela Effect residue, Barbershop Remembers Uncle Sam. This is a very short clip that he took from a movie, but it clearly shows, Uncle Sam with the hat and the red stripes. It's just so much residue that it just kind of makes you think, why are so many people getting this wrong? So anyways, awesome job, Brian MacFarlane. I recommend you guys check out all three of these people's channels. They all do amazing work when it comes to moving this Mandela Effect conversation forward. I'll leave a link in the description to all their channels and these three videos. And that being said, let's go ahead and get on with today's video. So the way I want to do this with this whole Uncle Sam poster Mandela Effect thing is we're going to take it to a mind map. That's going to be kind of our anchor point, and then we're going to go out to these various little facts. And then, as we move through these different points to add to this conversation, hey, feel free to comment. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I just remind everybody, please be respectful of me. You don't have to agree with what I'm saying. I just ask that you be respectful of me, be respectful to the people in my comment section. Don't name call each other. You're welcome to have your opinion. Just respect each other. That's all I'm asking. Guys, when we're dealing with something as weird as, the Mandela effect or alternate memories, not everybody's going to agree. That's just kind of the very nature of memory to begin with. So all I ask is be respectful of each other. I don't want to ban anyone. I don't want to block anyone. I mean, I want you to be able to speak your mind, whether you agree with me or not. Just be respectful of each other. That's all I'm saying. So, anyways, let's get on to our mind map here. Okay, so here we are on our anchor point mind map. I want to give you guys a few artifacts, if you will, to try to move this conversation forward. Okay, because currently this hat has always been white. There was never any stripes on this hat. So you got to wonder where the stripes came from. The first thing I want to point out is Wikipedia. You'll find something really interesting when you go to Wikipedia. If you go to the English Wikipedia, if you go there, it's going to say this: an elderly white man with white hair and a goatee, wearing a white top hat with white stars on a blue band. Now, if you notice, it doesn't say anything about red stripes on the top hat in the English version of Wikipedia. The odd thing is, if we look at the Polish Wikipedia, first of all, it's going to be in Polish, so you can't read what it says unless you understand Polish, but we can translate it, and we can translate it to English. And when we translate it to English, it's interesting because they have an appearance right here. Uncle Sam is usually depicted as a severe, elderly man with gray hair and a goatee, usually wears clothes that contain elements and colors of the United States flag. For example, a cylinder and red and white stripes with a white star on a blue border. So it would appear that that's describing this hat, this cylindric type hat, this top hat. The problem is there are no stripes, no red and white stripes on that top hat anymore. But that's how it's described right here. Now, I mean, you could easily argue that this is like an error in translation. I mean, right here we see an error in translation. It says she usually wears clothes that contain elements and colors of the United States flag. We know it's a he, not a she. So does cylinder mean something else? Is cylinder not referring to this hat? I mean, but it does appear that cylinder in this case is referring to this hat. It's odd, man. It's very strange. So let's go ahead and move on. So that's the Wikipedia. All right. So before we get into the museums that I called, I want to show you something. I was at Pat Catan's with my family, and I noticed that, you know, there was some interesting residue at Pat Catan's. So let's go ahead and get into that now. I was with my family the other day at the local crafting store. And, you know, here we are in the end of April, moving into May. And so, you know, 4th of July things are starting to creep into the picture. And I have to tell you, there's a lot of residual evidence out there of this Uncle Sam caricature with stripes on his hat. And you have to wonder, why are there so many representations of this character with stripes on his hat when the original did not have stripes on the hat? I think that's really interesting. And you got to wonder, is this a Mandela effect? That's weird, right? I mean, why are there so many depictions of Uncle Sam with the red and white stripes on his hat? You guys saw at Pat Catan's, I found several instances of that. Why is everyone getting it wrong? You know, if the original has been around for over 100 years like this, why is everyone doing it the other way? It's kind of strange, you know, it really is. So anyways, I wanted to get further into this. So what I did was I called the Smithsonian American Art Museum in Washington, D.C. Now, this is actually where the original lithograph, this thing right here, was donated to the Smithsonian American Art Museum. So that's the first place I called. I didn't have a ton of luck talking to them, but I do want to present to you guys what happened when I called them. So let's go ahead and get into that.
You have reached the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. Smithsonian museums in the National Zoo are open every day of the year except December 25th. To speak to a volunteer information specialist, press 0.
Hi, Claire. I kind of have a weird question for you. I'm not sure if you can answer it. Um, I
Okay.
I was doing some research on this poster that James Montgomery Flagg created a really long time ago.
Hmm.
It was the "I Want You" for the U.S. Army poster. Are you
Yes,
familiar
it
with
was
what
the
I'm?
museum.
Now, do you guys have the original there? Because
I really don't know where would be the museum that would be in.
I think it's in the it's the way I understand it, it's in the Division of Armed Forces History section. But I've never been to your museum, unfortunately, so I wasn't quite sure. Does that ring a bell to you?
No, it doesn't.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No, that's okay. All right, I was just kind of curious about it because all these pictures I'm seeing of this poster, he doesn't have any stripes on his hat. But
Uh-huh.
I have a distinct memory of that picture having red stripes on that hat, and it's kind of confusing to
Let me
me.
look. I'm trying to see where I would find that. Um, but you don't know the museum it was in?
Well, the way I understand it, it's in the Smithsonian American Art Museum. Um,
American Art Museum. Okay, let me look and see if I can hook up with them, and I can let you call there.
okay,
I can
cool.
answer you.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Sure. So I'm going to transfer you to um the security department, and then they could handle it from there. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Control Chief.
Hi, I was just trying to reach the Smithsonian American Art Museum.
Okay. How may I help you?
Oh, well, it's kind of a weird question. I just had a question about a piece of artwork that I think is there, but I'm not sure if it's the original is there. James Montgomery Flagg, he created this piece of artwork with the Uncle Sam on it, and it says like "I want you" for the U.S. Army. Um, and I was trying to figure out if the original was there.
It's supposed to be up on third floor.
Okay, okay, cool. Because see, I'm in Ohio. I'm not in Washington D.C. But I was curious because the reason I was wondering is because everywhere I look now, this poster has no red stripes on his hat, and it's kind of weird because I remember there being red stripes on the hat, and I was just kind of wondering if you'd seen the original and if you could tell me what that thing looks like.
Well, I'm in the control room, so I can't really tell you. And they take it out and put it in storage a lot. So
Okay.
if you request it, they bring it out.
Oh, okay. Cool,
Go
cool, cool.
online. You can go online and to American Art and request artwork, and they'll put it out.
Okay, okay, that's fair. All right. Do you have a member? Have you seen it at all?
Yeah, I've been here 24 years.
Okay, you've been there for 24 years. I mean, do you remember red stripes being on the hat, or am I just crazy?
I'm not sure. I will have to go look at it.
Okay, I understand. All right. Well, hey, listen. Hey, thanks for your time anyway, and sorry to interrupt
You're
you.
welcome. You didn't interrupt.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Bye. So this is the original drawing. That's why I wanted to call them. Unfortunately, you guys heard what happened on the phone when I called them. She didn't know. She'd been there for 24 years, and and she said she's seen it a bunch of times. But when I asked her if there was stripes on the hat, she said she couldn't remember. She sounded kind of grumpy, and I felt weird about asking her to go up there and look at it for me, so I didn't. I might call them back in the future. I did email them. But I never received a response by email. When I emailed the curator of the museum, I never received a response, unfortunately. So the next thing I did was I moved on to the National Museum of American Illustration. National Museum of American Illustration is another museum. It's actually based out of Newport, Rhode Island, but they have a large collection of James Montgomery Flagg's work. And since I can't get a definitive answer from the Smithsonian Museum of American Art, I thought they would be the next best place to reach out to try to get some kind of answer about James Montgomery Flagg's "I Want You" illustration. So let's give them a call.
Illustration Museum.
Hi. I have kind of a interesting question for you, actually. I'm doing some research on James Montgomery Flagg, and I'm under the understanding that you guys have a good amount of his work at your museum. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, maybe you can clear something up for me because I'm a little confused. I've seen his famous poster, the "I Want You" poster for the American Army. I've seen it with stripes on the hat, and I've seen it a lot without stripes on the hat. And I'm trying to figure out if that original illustration, is there actually red stripes on the hat or not?
I'm not sure. We don't actually own the original of the I Want You. We just have a print of it. So I'm not positive on what the original looks like.
Okay, that's fair enough. Does your print have red stripes on the hat?
I don't know off the top of my head. Just let me look at it really quick.
Oh, man, thank you. I appreciate your help.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. So the one that we have does not have stripes on the hat. It just has stars.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate your help.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, that was the National Museum of American Illustration. They don't have the original there. They actually have the original at the Smithsonian. You guys already heard that phone call. I sent an email out to the Smithsonian asking them about it, but I haven't had any response back from that email yet. So there you go. So that's what happened to me when I was exploring the "I Want You" poster that James Montgomery Flagg did all those years ago. And is it a Mandela effect? Is it not a Mandela effect? I don't know. I mean, I have to say, I remember it with the red stripes on the hat. It makes sense that there would be red stripes on the hat. It matches the pants. However, our current history says there was never any red stripes on the hat. So I'm interested to know what you guys think, because the fact of the matter is I didn't make this video because of what I thought. I made this video because I wanted to know what you think. So let me know in the comments section, was there ever red stripes on that hat? Is this a Mandela effect? Is it odd to you that there are no longer stripes on that hat? And, I'd love to hear what you think. I just remind you again to be respectful to each other, be respectful to me. Just because other people don't agree, their memories don't agree with yours, that doesn't mean we can't be grown men and women and be respectful of each other. Come on, guys. We can get along just because we don't remember things the same way. So anyways, that's it for me, guys. Thanks so much for all your support on this channel. I just recently crossed 1,000 subscribers, and what can I say? Your support has been mind-blowing. I appreciate you all taking the time to hang out with me on these videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, everybody.